My grandmother's funeral was 3 hours old when my cousin Tamika cornered me in the church bathroom. "Marcus, we need to talk about the money." Not "I'm sorry for your loss." Not "Grandma Pearl loved you." Just money. I stared at her reflection in the mirror, mascara running down her cheeks, not from grief, but from the humidity. Behind me, I could hear my Aunt Rochelle's voice echoing through the sanctuary, already calculating, already planning. I'd lived with Grandma Pearl since I was 12, after my parents died in that accident on I-85. 17 years of her teaching me everything: how to balance a checkbook, how to spot a liar, how to stand up straight even when the world tried to break you. She'd worked doubles at County General for 30 years, saved every penny, invested wisely. My family knew she had money. They just didn't know how much. "We're family, Marcus," Tamika continued, blocking the door. "Whatever she left you, we should split it equally. That's what's fair." Fair. The word tasted like poison. These were the same people who hadn't visited Grandma in 5 years. The same ones who didn't help when she got sick, when I took leave from my engineering job to care for her. When she needed them most, they vanished like smoke. "Move, Tamika." My voice was ice. She stepped aside, but her eyes followed me, predatory, hungry. I knew then, this was just beginning. Outside, Aunt Rochelle waited with Uncle Jerome and my cousins Dwayne and Shanice. The vultures were circling, and they had no idea what was coming. Attorney Christopher Hayes sat behind his mahogany desk, his silver reading glasses perched on his nose. The office smelled like old books and leather. Aunt Rochelle had worn her church clothes, a purple dress suit that screamed respectability she didn't possess. Uncle Jerome kept checking his phone, probably calculating imaginary numbers. Tamika, Dwayne, and Shanice flanked them like backup singers waiting for their moment. I sat alone on the opposite side. Me against them. Story of my life. "Thank you all for coming," Mr. Hayes began, opening the manila folder. "Pearl Washington's will is straightforward. She was very specific about her wishes." Aunt Rochelle leaned forward, practically salivating. "To my grandson Marcus Anthony Washington, I leave my house at 847, Morningside Drive, appraised at $420,000. The room went silent. Then Rochelle exploded. $400,000? That raggedy old house. Her voice could have shattered glass. Mr. Hayes continued calmly. "Also to Marcus, my investment portfolio, currently valued at $1.2 million. Dwayne stood up. Shanice gasped. Tamika's jaw dropped. Uncle Jerome's phone clattered to the floor. "That's impossible," Rochelle hissed. "Mama didn't have that kind of money. She was a nurse." "A nurse who invested wisely for 40 years, Mr. Hayes replied. "Additionally, $200,000 in savings accounts, and a life insurance policy worth $300,000. The math was simple. Nearly $2 million. All mine. This is bullshit." Dwayne shouted. "We're her family too. She can't just—" "She absolutely can," Mr. Hayes interrupted. "And she did." Rochelle turned to me, her face twisted with rage and something uglier, pure greed. "Marcus, baby, you know this isn't right. We're a family. Your grandmother would want us to share." I finally spoke. Would she? The text messages started that night. "Aunt Rochelle, we need to talk about making this right. Call me. Uncle Jerome, your grandmother raised you better than this. Family shares. Tamika, I know you're hurting but don't be selfish Marcus." Dwayne was more direct. "You owe us. We're blood." I sat in Grandma Pearl's living room, my living room now, staring at my phone. The house felt enormous and empty without her humming gospel music while cooking collard greens. Her reading chair still had the indent where she'd sit for hours, doing crossword puzzles and sipping sweet tea. I could still smell her lavender perfume. My phone rang. "Aunt Rochelle." I answered. "Marcus, we're coming over tomorrow. We need to discuss distribution." "There's nothing to discuss." "Boy, don't you sass me. I'm your aunt. Your grandmother was my mother. You think you deserve everything because you lived with her. Her voice dripped venom. You were just freeloading off an old woman. The words hit like a punch. Freeloading. I'd given up promotions, relationships, my entire 20s to care for her. When she had pneumonia, who sat in that hospital for 6 days straight? When she needed physical therapy after her hip surgery, who drove her 3 times a week? When she couldn't remember where she put her glasses, her pills, her keys, who was there? I'm hanging up now. We're family, Marcus. You can't just click. But she was right about one thing. They were coming. And tomorrow, the real battle would begin. I walked to Grandma's bedroom, opened her closet. Behind her church dresses, I found the showbox. Inside, letters. Dozens of them. All addressed to her family members, asking for help, for visits, for anything. All unopened. All returned to sender. She'd kept the evidence. Smart woman. They arrived at 9 a.m. like a SWAT team. Aunt Rochelle, Uncle Jerome, Tamika, Dwayne, Shanice, and 2 people I'd never met, Rochelle's boyfriend Craig and Jerome's wife Denise. 8 people crowding into the living room, sitting on Grandma's furniture like they owned it. We've talked, Rochelle announced, settling into Grandma's favorite chair. I wanted to rip her out of it. And we've decided on a fair split. The house gets sold, proceeds divided 8 ways. The investment portfolio, no. The word hung in the air. Dwayne stood up, all 6'3" of him, trying to intimidate me. What you mean, no? I mean no. Grandma left everything to me. This isn't a negotiation. Tamika's voice went syrupy sweet. Marcus, honey, we know you're grieving. You're not thinking clearly. But Grandma would want us all taken care of. Remember when she used to say, family is everything? I remember, I replied. I also remember when she called you 5 times from the hospital and you never answered. When was the last time any of you visited her? 2 years? 3. Silence. Then Rochelle's mask dropped. You ungrateful little shit. We raised you after your parents died. You OWE us. You raised me. Grandma raised me. You came to Christmas dinner and complained about her cooking. Uncle Jerome tried diplomacy. Son, let's be reasonable. That's a lot of money for one person. We're not asking for everything. Just our fair share. Your fair share of what? Of the woman you abandoned? Of the inheritance you didn't earn? Shanice finally spoke, her voice timid. We just thought, family helps family. I almost felt sorry for her. Almost. You're right. Family helps family. So where were you? Craig, the boyfriend, cleared his throat. Look, kid, let's talk numbers. And that's when I knew. This wasn't about family. It never was. 50,000 each seems fair, Craig continued, like he had any right to speak. That's 400 grand total. You keep the rest. Everyone wins. I laughed. Actually laughed. And who the hell are you? Craig Dennison. Financial consultant. Rochelle asked me to help facilitate this discussion. Facilitate. Right. I pulled out my phone. Let me facilitate something. I'd scanned the letters the night before. Every single one. I sent them to the group chat I'd created with all their numbers. Ping. 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 Their phones lit up simultaneously. What's this? Uncle Jerome squinted at his screen. Read them, I said quietly. Out loud. Tamika opened the first one. Her face changed. Dear Tamika, I haven't heard from you in 6 months. I hope you're well. I had a doctor's appointment about the pain in my chest. They're running more tests. Could you call when you have time? Love, Grandma. Dated March 2021. Dwayne grabbed his phone. Dear Dwayne, I sent a check for your birthday but it came back. Is your address still the same? Please let me know you're okay. Love always, Grandma. This was 2 years ago. Rochelle's hands trembled as she scrolled. Letter after letter. Birthday cards returned. Christmas gifts refused. Phone calls ignored. Grandmother's voice reaching out into the void, desperate for connection, receiving only silence. "We were busy," Rochelle whispered. "Busy." The word echoed. She was dying and you were busy. She was scared and alone and you were busy. Uncle Jerome stood abruptly. "You don't understand. No, you don't understand." Every letter, every call, every desperate attempt to connect with the family she loved, documented. You abandoned her. And now you want her money. Denise, Jerome's wife, looked genuinely upset. "Jerome, you never told me." "Shut up, Denise." The cracks were showing. Craig tried redirecting. "Past is past. We're talking about the future where you get rich off a dead woman you never met. Get out." "Marcus," Rochelle reached for me. I stepped back. "Get out of my house. All of you." They didn't move. So I called the one person I knew would understand. "Mrs. Chen? It's Marcus. I need you." Helen Chen arrived 20 minutes later. 78 years old, sharp as a tack, and Grandma Pearl's best friend for 40 years. She'd been at the funeral, weeping genuine tears while my family performed their grief. She took one look at the crowd in the living room and her expression hardened. "Rochelle." Her voice could freeze lava. "Mrs. Chen." Rochelle's fake smile appeared. "So nice to see you, don't." Mrs. Chen walked past her, straight to me, took my hand. "Your grandmother told me this would happen. She knew." "Knew what?" Tamika asked nervously. "That you'd come crawling out for money the moment she was gone. Like roaches when the lights go off." Uncle Jerome bristled. "Now hold on, you hold on. I was there every Tuesday for tea. I was there when Pearl cried because her daughter," she pointed at Rochelle, "told her she was too busy for Mother's Day. I was there when she paid Dwayne's rent for 6 months and he never even said thank you. I was there." The room went quiet. Mrs. Chen pulled out her own phone. "Pearl recorded videos. For Marcus. Want to see?" She didn't wait for an answer. She pressed play. Grandma Pearl's face filled the screen, tired but smiling. Dated 3 months before she died. "Marcus, baby, if you're watching this, I'm gone. And I'm guessing Rochelle and Jerome are there, talking about fairness and family." She chuckled, that familiar sound that made my chest tight. "Don't you believe them? They made their choices. You were my choice. Every day you stayed, every sacrifice you made, I saw it. I appreciated it. This inheritance isn't luck, baby. You earned it." Tears ran down my face. Rochelle looked away. "They're going to make you feel guilty," Grandma continued. "They're going to say I'd want you to share. But baby, I want you taken care of. Build your life. Find your happiness. And don't let anyone make you feel bad for receiving love." The video ended. Silence filled the room like cement. "That doesn't change anything," Rochelle finally said, but her voice wavered. "We're still her children. We have rights." "Actually," Mrs. Chen replied, "you don't." Pearl was very clear. She consulted 3 attorneys to make sure this will was ironclad. She knew you'd fight it. Craig stood up. "We could contest it. Undue influence. Marcus isolated her from her family." "I isolated her." I felt something snap inside me. "I isolated her? Where were you when she fell in the bathroom and I had to call 911? Where were you during chemo? Where were you when she forgot my name for 3 days straight and I had to keep reminding her who I was while my heart broke into pieces?" My voice rose. I couldn't stop it. Where were you when she woke up screaming from nightmares? When she couldn't eat because the medication made her nauseous? When she cried because she felt like a burden? I was there. Every single day. While you were living your lives, I was watching her die. The room felt electric. Shanice was crying. Even Dwayne looked uncomfortable. You want to contest the will? I continued. Go ahead. I have 5 years of medical records showing I was her primary caregiver. I have her calendar with every appointment I drove her to. I have receipts for every prescription I filled, every meal I cooked, every goddamn thing I did while you people couldn't be bothered to send a card. Rochelle's face crumbled. For a second, I saw something real, maybe shame, maybe regret. Marcus. We didn't know it was that bad. You didn't know because you didn't ask. Uncle Jerome cleared his throat. We made mistakes. But we're still family. Maybe we could arrange something smaller? 20,000 each? Just to help. Help with what? Your car payment? Your vacation? Your boyfriend's consulting fee? I looked at Craig. Yeah, I googled you. 3 fraud charges, 2 restraining orders, and a bankruptcy. Great advisor, Aunt Rochelle. Craig's face went red. You little, get out of my house. Last warning. This time, they moved. For 3 days, they left me alone. I started to hope maybe they'd given up. I should have known better. On Thursday, I came home from work to find Uncle Jerome's truck in the driveway. He was sitting on the porch with a man I didn't recognize, expensive suit, cold eyes, briefcase. Marcus, Uncle Jerome smiled like we were old friends. This is Richard Pemberton, our attorney. My stomach dropped. We tried being reasonable, Pemberton said, standing. But you've left us no choice. We're filing a contest of Pearl Washington's will on grounds of undue influence, lack of mental capacity, and elder abuse. Elder abuse. The words didn't make sense. You isolated a vulnerable woman, Jerome said, his voice suddenly confident. Rehearsed. Cut her off from her family. Manipulated her into changing her will. She never changed it, I interrupted. I've seen the original from 2019. It was always me. Pemberton smiled. We have witnesses who'll testify to your controlling behavior. How you monitored her phone calls. Kept visitors away. Convinced her that her family didn't care about her. Witnesses? What witnesses? Family friends. People from her church. Liars, you mean? Jerome stood up. This is going to get ugly, Marcus. Court battles take years. Cost a fortune. Or, you could settle. Give us what we're asking, and this all goes away. I felt Mrs. Chen's presence before I saw her. She'd walked up behind them, carrying a folder. The blackmail portion of your performance. How original. Helen, Jerome's smile was plastic. This doesn't concern you. Oh, but it does. See, Pearl asked me to keep records. Phone logs showing her calls to you, all 47 that went unanswered. Video recordings of family dinners where you criticized her cooking, her house, her wasting money on doctors. Pemberton's smile faded. That's inadmissible, maybe. But it's great for the media. Family abandons dying mother, then fights for her money. The news would eat that up. Jerome's face went purple. You wouldn't dare. Try me, Mrs. Chen replied sweetly. They left. But Pemberton turned back at his car. This isn't over. No, it wasn't. I couldn't sleep. Every noise made me jump. Every car passing felt like a threat. Friday morning, I got a call from Mr. Hayes, the attorney. Marcus, we need to meet. Now. Something's happened. His office felt different, tense. He wasn't alone. Detective Sarah Morrison from the Financial Crimes Unit sat across from him. Mr. Washington, she began, we've received a complaint alleging you forged your grandmother's will. The room spun. What? Anonymous tip. Claims you had access to her documents, her signature. Claims you coerced her. That's insane. Mr. Hayes, tell her, I've already verified the will's authenticity, Hayes interrupted. Notarized, witnessed, completely legal. But Detective Morrison needs to investigate. I'm sorry, she said, and she actually looked sorry. It's procedure. Do you have any documentation showing your relationship with Pearl Washington? 5 years of receipts, medical records, photos, videos, good. I'll need copies of everything. And Marcus, be careful. Whoever filed this complaint wants you scared. They're counting on you making mistakes. I drove home in a fog. That's when I saw it. Rochelle's car parked 2 houses down, watching. She didn't even try to hide. Just sat there, smoking a cigarette, staring. I pulled into my driveway and she followed, blocking me in. We can end this, she called through her window. 50,000 each. That's my final offer. No. She got out of her car. Up close, she looked terrible, bags under her eyes, hair unkempt. You're going to regret this. Is that a threat? It's a promise. You don't know what I'm capable of. And suddenly, I remembered. I was 11, at a family barbecue. I'd found $5 on the ground, shown it to Rochelle. She'd taken it. For safekeeping, she'd said. I never saw it again. She'd always been a thief. Get off my property. She laughed, but there was no humor in it. This is just beginning, Marcus. Just beginning. The break-in happened Sunday night. I was at Mrs. Chen's, going through more of Grandma's documents. We came back to my front door hanging open, the lock smashed. Police came. Investigated. Anything missing? Officer Rodriguez asked. I checked. Nothing obvious gone. But someone had been through everything, drawers open, papers scattered, Grandma's bedroom ransacked. They were looking for something, Mrs. Chen said quietly. The will. Or evidence. Then I saw it. Grandma's computer. Gone. The laptop where she'd kept her journals, her emails, her entire digital life. Her computer's missing. Rodriguez wrote it down. Value. It's not about value. It had personal files. We'll file a report. But I gotta be honest, most burglaries don't get solved. You might want to upgrade your security. After they left, I sat in the chaos and called Mr. Hayes. Someone stole Grandma's computer. Silence. Then, Marcus, I need to tell you something. Your grandmother backed everything up. Cloud storage. She was paranoid about losing documents. Paranoid or smart? With your family? Both. I have the access codes. And there's something else, emails between Rochelle and someone named Craig Dennison, discussing your grandmother's valuable assets 6 months before she died. My blood went cold. They were planning this. Looks like it. There's more. Rochelle tried to get power of attorney in 2022. Pearl refused. According to the emails, Rochelle was furious. The pieces clicked together. The sudden interest in family. The visits that lasted exactly 1 hour. The questions about Grandma's finances and future plans. They'd been plotting this for years. Mr. Hayes, I want to file charges. For what? Harassment. Stalking. Breaking and entering. Attempted fraud. Everything. That's a war, Marcus. I looked around my destroyed house. At Grandma's broken picture frames, her scattered memories. They started it. I'm going to finish it. Monday morning, I filed everything. Police reports, restraining orders, fraud complaints. By noon, my phone exploded. Rochelle, you've made a huge mistake. Jerome, you're going to regret this. Tamika, we're family. How could you? I blocked them all. But Dwayne showed up at my job. We need to talk. Dwayne stood in the lobby of Morrison Engineering, where I'd worked for 8 years. My boss, Janet, had called me down, concerned. Security hovering nearby. You need to leave, I said quietly. Not until you listen. His voice carried. People were staring. You're destroying our family over money. Is this what Grandma would want? Something inside me exploded. Don't you dare talk about what she'd want. You know what she wanted? For you to visit. To call. To give a damn while she was alive. But you couldn't even do that. I had problems. We all have problems. She had cancer and you had problems. What problems, Dwayne? Bills? Relationship drama? Things that seemed so important that you couldn't spend one afternoon with your dying grandmother. Security moved closer. Dwayne's face twisted. You think you're better than us. Always did. The golden boy who lived with Grandma, getting everything handed to him, handed to Emmy. My voice echoed through the lobby. I earned every single day. I bathed her when she couldn't do it herself. I held her hand during panic attacks. I slept in a chair next to her hospital bed for 2 months because she was scared of dying alone. What did you earn, Dwayne? He stepped closer. You turned her against us. No. You did that yourselves. Every missed call. Every forgotten birthday. Every time she needed you and you weren't there, you did that. Janet appeared at my elbow. Marcus, why don't you take the day off? I nodded, unable to speak. Dwayne wasn't finished. This isn't over. Mom's got lawyers. Real ones. They're going to prove you manipulated Grandma. You're going to lose everything. Then I'll lose it. But at least I'll lose it knowing I was there. Where were you? He had no answer. Just rage. He left, and I collapsed into a chair. Janet sat next to me. Family. Unfortunately. The inheritance thing I've been hearing about. I nodded. She was quiet for a moment. My dad died last year. Left everything to my sister because she was his caregiver. Rest of the family lost their minds. I get it. What happened? She kept it all. And you know what? She deserved it. She earned it. She squeezed my shoulder. Don't let them break you. But I was already breaking. The deposition was scheduled for Thursday. Pemberton, their lawyer, had somehow gotten a judge to allow discovery. I sat in Mr. Hayes's office, preparing. They're going to ask about everything, he warned. Your relationship with Pearl. Your finances. They'll try to paint you as a gold digger. Let them try. But my hands shook. Mrs. Chen arrived with a box. I found something. Pearl left this with me. Said to give it to you if things got bad. Inside, a DVD hand-labeled for Marcus. When They Come. We played it. Grandma Pearl appeared on screen, sitting in her favorite chair. This video was different, formal, dated 1 month before she died. Marcus, baby, if you're watching this, it means Rochelle tried to fight the will. I knew she would. She called me last week. The screen flickered. Grandma looked directly at the camera. She said I was being unfair. That family should share equally. I told her no. You know what she said. Grandma's face hardened. She said, then I hope you die alone, you selfish old bitch. Her own mother. And you know what broke my heart? I wasn't surprised. I couldn't breathe. I've known for years what my children are, Grandma continued. Jerome stole from me in 1997. 15,000 from my savings. Denied it to my face. Rochelle forged my name on a loan application in 2003. Almost ruined my credit. I forgave them because that's what mothers do. But I never forgot. She leaned forward. This money isn't just money, Marcus. It's security. It's freedom. It's the future I couldn't give your father. He was a good man, my boy. Your parents were going to change the world. When they died. She wiped her eyes. You became my second chance. My do-over. And you turned out better than I ever hoped. Don't give them a penny. Not because they don't need it. But because they need to learn that love isn't transactional. That you can't abandon people and expect rewards. Let this be my final lesson to them. The screen went black. Mr. Hayes spoke first. That's admissible. That's everything we need. The deposition never happened. Pemberton withdrew the contest that afternoon. The accountant's office was neutral territory. Mr. Hayes had arranged the meeting, one final discussion before we took legal action. Rochelle, Jerome, and their lawyer sat on one side of the conference table. I sat on the other with Mr. Hayes and Mrs. Chen. The accountant, David Park, had Grandma's complete financial records. "Let's be clear," Mr. Hayes began. "This meeting is a courtesy. Marcus doesn't have to be here, but he wanted you to understand exactly what you've lost." Park opened a file. His face went pale. "Before we begin, I need to confirm these numbers. Pearl Washington's estate totals $2.7 million. I blinked. "What?" The will said. "The will was written 4 years ago," Hayes explained. "Her investments matured. Her stocks split. She was a very intelligent investor." Rochelle lunged forward. $2.7 million? And you're keeping it all?" "Every penny," I confirmed. "But that's not why we're here." Hayes pulled out another folder. "Marcus wants to show you something. Pearl's expenses for the last 5 years of her life." Park displayed the spreadsheet. Medical bills, $400,000. Home modifications for disability, $50,000. Private nursing assistance, $120,000. Medications, $38,000. I watched their faces as the numbers climbed. Total cost of Pearl's care, $608,000. Paid entirely by Marcus Washington from his personal savings and salary. Silence. "You bankrupted yourself for her," Mrs. Chen said softly, to me. "I'd do it again." Hayes pulled out another document. Additionally, text messages recovered from Pearl's phone show Rochelle borrowed $18,000 in 2021, never repaid. Jerome borrowed $25,000 in 2019, never repaid. Dwayne, $32,000 over various years. "We were going to pay her back," Jerome whispered. "She never asked, because she loved you," I interrupted. "Even when you didn't deserve it." Rochelle was crying now. Real tears. I didn't know. I didn't know she spent so much on care." "You didn't ask." Hayes slid a paper across the table. "Marcus is prepared to offer a settlement. One time. Final. Take it or leave it." They grabbed for it. I watched their faces fall. 5,000. Jerome exploded. "Each," Hayes clarified. "For a total of 20,000. The exact amount Pearl spent on each of you in gifts and loans over the years. Consider it repaid." "This is insulting," Pemberton said. "This is generous," Hayes countered. "Because the alternative is Marcus pressing charges for harassment, stalking, breaking and entering, and attempted fraud. With Detective Morrison's help, we have enough to put all of you in jail." The room went quiet. "You have 24 hours to accept," Hayes continued. "After that, the offer disappears and we prosecute. Your choice." They signed. All of them. In silence. As they left, Rochelle stopped at the door. "I'm sorry. For what it's worth. I'm sorry." I wanted to forgive her. Wanted to be the bigger person. But Grandma's words echoed, "Let this be my final lesson to them. Goodbye, Aunt Rochelle." I sold the house. Too many memories, both beautiful and painful. Bought a smaller place across town. Modern, clean, mine. Used part of the inheritance to start a foundation, the Pearl Washington Scholarship for Caregivers. Full-ride engineering scholarships for people who'd sacrificed their education to care for family members. The first recipient was a 26-year-old woman named Jasmine who dropped out of college to care for her father with Alzheimer's. At the award ceremony, she cried. "Nobody sees us," she said. "Nobody understands what we give up." "I see you," I replied. "Grandma saw you." Mrs. Chen visited weekly. We'd have tea, her tradition with Grandma, and talk about everything and nothing. She was teaching me to garden, something Grandma had loved. "You did the right thing," she told me one afternoon, her hands deep in soil. "Pearl would be proud." "I hope so." "My family?" I heard things. Rochelle and Craig broke up. Jerome lost his job. Dwayne moved to Atlanta. Tamika and Shanice tried reaching out once, apologizing, but I wasn't ready. Maybe someday. Maybe never. The inheritance hadn't made me rich, it made me free. Free to build the life Grandma wanted for me. Free to honor her memory the right way. Free from people who loved money more than they loved her. Some nights, I swear I can still smell her lavender perfume. Still hear her humming gospel songs. Still feel her hand on my shoulder, proud and warm. You did good, baby, she'd say. And for the first time in months, I believed it. If you believe family means showing up when it matters, not just when there's money involved, hit that subscribe button. Only the entitled, manipulative leeches won't subscribe. Comment, I stand with Marcus if you know the difference between family and relatives. And if you think people like Aunt Rochelle deserve what they got, smash that like button. Don't let the greedy win. Subscribe now.